Christchurch is easily one of my favorite cities in New Zealand. Just the location and where it's situated on the South Island makes it a perfect base to go and explore all different types of spots. And let's kick this off with where to stay. There are lots of options outside of the city. If you don't want to stay right in the city center, you can stay up in the hills, the Kashmir Hills, the Port Hills, for super nice views of the surrounding city and the ocean. You could also stay in areas like Rolleston to save a bit of money. Christchurch is very easy to drive around. Most of the roads are flat and super easy to navigate. And I find that most areas surrounding Christchurch are about a 10 to 20 minute drive into the city center. You'll definitely be spoiled for choice when it comes to accommodation. There are so many places to stay in and around the Christchurch area. And because most people just drive through or pass through Christchurch, you might have an easier time finding accommodation compared to somewhere like Auckland or Wellington. If you do want to stay right in the heart of the city, I highly recommend staying somewhere close to Hagley Park or the Riverside Market area. Those places are very walkable, and if you're going to be staying for a longer period of time, these could be great bases if you don't want to rely on a vehicle to get around. Which leads us into the next point, which is getting around. I do recommend having a car if you can make it happen. There are just so many incredible places to see within like a 2-hour, 3-hour drive of Christchurch, including places like Kaikoura, Akaroa, Arthur's Pass National Park, Mount Cook. The list goes on and on. There's so many places that you can drive to on a day trip from Christchurch. I haven't personally taken the transit in Christchurch, but it seems like their network is quite decent, and I'll throw a link down below if you want to research that a bit further. Now let's talk about things to do. So I'm going to start with free and cheap things. These are the things that I personally prefer to do. Going up into the Port Hills to watch the sunset is an amazing thing to do. And I can link exactly where this viewpoint is down below if you want to go and check it out yourself. There's a little cafe up at this hill as well. Another free thing that you can do is hiking. So there's tons of hiking trails up in the Port Hills. You can go and hike over to Littleton or back from Littleton. You can hike up to where the gondola is and just hike all around those mountains in there. You can drive out to somewhere like Arthur's Pass and go for a hike there. Godley Head, which is actually in Christchurch, is one of the best hikes I think we've done in New Zealand. The views were absolutely stunning, and the hike itself was really quite easy. You do also have to drive through Sumner on the way out to this hike if you're going to start at Taylor's Mistake, and that was such a cute little beach town. I highly recommend checking it out if you're going to be going that way. Another thing to do for free is to just go and walk around where the cathedral is. There is a pedestrians only area over there. You can go and see the cathedral. They are in the process of rebuilding it, of course, since the 2011 earthquakes. It's really cool to see them working on that, and it is still quite a beautiful building despite all the damage that happened to it. And keeping in that theme, you can also go and walk around the downtown core area, the Riverside Market. There's a really nice walkway that follows the Avon River, I believe. You can walk along that and just take in all the beautiful scenery. There's a lot of beautiful greenery and gardens down in the downtown area. In spring or summer, I think it'd be an amazing spot to go and just spend an afternoon. Hagley Park and the Botanic Gardens, another incredible free thing to do. You can easily spend a half day just walking around the gardens, pack a lunch, grab something from a cafe. That makes for a super cheap day out. Another one of my favorite places to check out when you're in Christchurch is Littleton. This is about a 15-minute drive, I think, from the city center. Not technically in Christchurch, but it is really, really close. They have an amazing Saturday farmers market and one of the best breweries in New Zealand called Eruption. Such an amazing patio up top. Go and sit on the rooftop patio and take in the stunning views of the harbor. It's such a cute, quaint little town. I highly recommend it if you're going to be in Christchurch. Go and check this out. It's well worth the short detour. New Brighton Beach is another spot that I would check out if you're coming in the warmer months. A really beautiful long beach with an amazing pier that you can walk out on. This is a great spot for a day trip to the beach to just go and relax, maybe go for a little swim. I think you could probably surf at this beach too. At least when we were there, the waves were quite big. And this is a really great spot to watch the sunrise. And the last thing on the free and cheap thing to do is the Canterbury Museum. This is free to enter. We didn't end up going to this. I actually didn't even know about this until I was doing a little bit of research for this video, but it has really good reviews online, and I think we'd like to go and check it out if we have time when we're back in Christchurch in January. So now let's talk about non-budget things to do in Christchurch. The gondola, you can go right up to the top of the hills, which you can hike up to, but if you don't want to do that, if you want to do the gondola ride and just get some amazing views without doing all the work, it is 40 New Zealand dollars per person. You can also go to the adventure park and take the chairlift up. That is $25 per person. This is something we didn't end up doing, but I'm really interested in doing it now. I thought that it would be like $40 a person, so I think $25 per person is quite good. You can do a lot more in the adventure park too, like zip lining. I'll link their website down below if you want to research that more. Next is to do some punting on the Avon River. That goes for about $40 per person. You basically sit in a little boat and they punt you along down the river, tell you a bunch of different history and information about Christchurch. We didn't end up doing this either, but it seems like a really popular thing to do in the area, so definitely check it out if that interests you. Next is the tram. This is $35 per person, and from what I could tell, that includes like an entire day going on the entire loop of the tram. We also did not end up doing this because most of the trams were actually not operational when we were there. Another really popular thing to do is the Antarctic Center, and that goes for $60 per person. Again, we didn't do this, but it has amazing reviews on Google. That might be something worth checking out if you want to experience what super cold temperatures are like and see how things operate in Antarctica. Quake City is another thing that you can do if you want to learn about the history of the earthquake in Christchurch, as well as the Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. That goes for $34.50 per person. To wrap this up, I think Christchurch is an incredible city. It's such a great spot to use as a hub to explore many different areas of the South Island. I think it's really affordable and highly underrated, and I recommend you add it to your travel list. Give it a few days if you can spare the time because it is such a great city. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys really soon in the next one. Bye.